from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome kickoff weekend 2018 in the NFL. Let's head down to the field and Laura Oakman.
Hi, Chris. We were sitting with Sean Payton when he got Friday's injury report, listing Bucs quarterback Brent Grimes as doubtful. I would use the word surprised. I would not use the word disappointed. Dirk Cutter saying normally we like to ease our rookies in, but we're going to have to throw Carlton Davis right into the fire. He said, I feel good about his play, as good as I can feel about someone making their first start against one of the best to ever play the game. Chris?
All right, thank you, Laura. Drew Brees on his way to the Hall of Fame, and he'll get a chance with the football first. The Bucs won the toss and deferred. Chandler Catanzaro, the new kicker. Tommy Lee Lewis, Bucs and Saints 2018 is underway. And here he comes, Tommy Lee Lewis, across the 25 up near the 29-yard line. A healthy return to set up Drew Brees and the Saints offense. The NFL's most accurate passer, coming off his most accurate season in the NFL, the best ever at 72%. And his career mark is currently at 66%.
Yeah, everybody talks about Tom Brady defying Father Time, but don't forget about Drew Brees. I mean, this could be a remarkable season for him. He's on the cusp of breaking several huge records, NFL all-time.
Alvin Kamara in the backfield. Brees to throw on first down and does, right in the area of Carlton Davis in his first start, as Ted Ginn hauls in the reception. Of course, the other receiver, Michael Thomas, and an offensive line, Andres Pete, out of the lineup because of a quad injury.
Yeah, Josh Laribas gets the start at left guard. A very underrated offensive line. We talk about how explosive this offense can be, the running back by committee, but it doesn't happen without those five guys up front.
After a pickup of 4, first down catch, Kamara up the sideline and into Buccaneer territory, inside the 35-yard line of Tampa Bay. 81 catches last year for Alvin Kamara. As a rookie, he grabs one right away.
Yeah, and this is going to be tough duty for these Tampa Bay linebackers all day. Levante David, Quan Alexander, good coverage backers, but when you have to go against Kamara in that situation, it's such a tough duty. You've got the whole inside of the field. You can see the separation he has right away on just a simple choice route underneath.
Gain of 35 yards. Kamara bottom of your screen, and here comes a flag.
Neutral zone infraction, defense, number 93, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Gerald McCoy, and what did Mike Smith, defensive coordinator, say? All the things that Brees does well, he gets you to jump, especially in his home office.
A tremendous hard count, the pace, the change of pace from play to play. This Tampa Bay defense is going to have to be ready for that ball to be snapped as soon as they get to the line of scrimmage.
Kamara, bottom of your screen.
Hey, Mike, 5-8. Mike, ready?
Brees on target. That's Michael Thomas. Down around the 11 of Tampa Bay.
Think about Michael Thomas as that big guy on the outside. Here he is now moving inside, and again, you get him matched up against the linebacker. Look at the separation with just a stutter step on that release.
A gain of 14 in striking distance on the opening drive. Jonathan Williams is in at running back. They fake to him. Ted Ginn has it, trying to turn the corner. And Ginn hesitates at the 9-yard line, knocked down inside the 10 of the Bucs. The Saints came in after last year averaging 28 points a game. In fact, this offense with Sean Payton and Drew Brees, you go back to 2006, they have averaged almost 28 a game. Only the Patriots have averaged more in that time, and the red zone numbers for Sean Payton. Brees actually threw a little less last year because of that running back combo, but without Ingram, it's more of Kamara today.
5-4, ready, 80, what's that?
Kamara, and the Bucs, one of their better defensive plays on this drive.
And this is the area where that offensive line we talked about, and Alvin Kamara as a runner is going to be very important. We saw the struggles with the Atlanta Falcons Thursday night, going up and down the field, but struggling in the red zone. it goes to the defense. The advantage goes to the defense, and one of the things that really helps an offense is the ability to run the ball effectively down here.
Yeah, Taysom Hill, the third-string quarterback, is in, and he's ready at the bottom to take the snap. Handoff straight ahead, and a touchdown Saints. Alvin Kamara. A little bit of a distraction on the Buccaneer defense, and whatever it was that Sean Payton called, Kamara punches it in. It was a delayed call. See if the ball broke the plane here.
Check and see if that knee goes down at all. Looks like he's on top of the player. That's a touchdown. He breaks the plane before that knee touches. Looks like it was actually on a Tampa Bay player right here as he starts to finish.
And it has been reviewed and confirmed. After 13 touchdowns running and catching last year, Kamara gets one to start the season. Opening drive, 71 yards, just over 3 minutes. And the Saints are celebrating already down in New Orleans, and we've just begun the 2018 season. Saints using Alvin Kamara just enough on a handoff from Taysom Hill in at quarterback when Breeze dropped his receiver. And there is Hill, who is on special teams on the kickoff coverage team as the Saints lead 7-0. Will Lutz. Sean Wilson, the free agent from Duke, back for the Bucs, and he has got it from his own 2-yard line. Straight ahead is Wilson, who can fly, and he gets up across the 30 to give Tampa Bay a good field position.
It's one of the things you have to check on that last play is if you look there in the huddle right there, there's 9 and 7 together. They break the huddle and look down at the bottom of the screen. There's Drew Brees down at the bottom. So that's one of the things you're going to have to be aware of when you play the Saints this year because of what Taysom Hill brings to the table. In the red zone, third downs, short yardage and goal line, he's going to have a special package.
29-yard return for Wilson. Peyton Barber the back. Already in a hole, and the noise, well, it'll get noisier. Fitzpatrick. Catch made by Deshaun Jackson inside the 39, and Ryan Fitzpatrick starting week 1 for the 6th time. He did start 3 games last year for the Bucs and had a 2-1 record in that time. 14th season from Harvard. He's bounced around, an interesting story, and the right guy, the perfect guy to have in this situation, according to head coach Dirk Cutter, given that Winston is out on the suspension for 3 games. Barber right across the 41-yard line. Working behind an offensive line, Ryan Jensen, the new signee at center. Donovan Smith bothered by a knee injury, but has never missed a start. And they go to the line here without a huddle on 3rd and a yard.
And there's that skill group. A very, very talented wide receiver tight end.
Fitzpatrick leans forward. On 3rd and short. Fitzpatrick joked with us that even at age 35, he's not afraid to run around. He's just the slide that's a little awkward, how it ends. And he got the first down. This Saints defense led up front by Cam Jordan. His 97th consecutive start. Mario Davis, a new addition at the linebacking core.
Yeah, also Kurt Coleman on the back end in the safety. A young secondary group last year that played very, very well. And now you stabilize that even more with a veteran presence in Kurt Coleman.
Fitzpatrick to throw and has time in the pocket. Airing it out deep to Deshaun Jackson. Wide open. He's got it, and that's going to be a Buccaneer touchdown. A couple of veterans hooking up. 58 yards.
Coming out of that slot position. Presses up the field, and they kind of lose him on that side. Playing a single high safety look. And Marcus Williams, I don't know if he was expecting help to the outside. Something that was not a part of this Bucs offense last year shows itself on the first possession. A big play to Deshaun Jackson.
And a big difference as Catanzaro tries the extra point. Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, is calling the plays for this Buccaneer team for the first time, not the head coach, Dirk Cutter. We'll expound on that, but whatever they called there, it worked, and we are tied at 7. Up above, 52-year-old Todd Monken, third year with the Bucs, but his first time calling plays in the NFL. And his head coach, Dirk Cutter, more than 30 years in the game, has always been a play caller, whether he's been the head coach or not. Worked in the preseason, decided, hey, I wasn't sure, I'm going to hand it off to him. The team responded well, and so far, so good. Catanzaro kicking off, this one deep and down, so it will come out to the 25-yard line.
And again, the aggressive play call, a great response by this Tampa Bay offense to be able to get that big play dialed up. And you draw up shots as you practice during the week. I think that that's what that celebration is. You know you've got a big play dialed up. You call it, you execute it, you get the touchdown. The one bad part, possibly Deshaun Jackson, you see right there, did he land on that shoulder awkwardly on that touchdown catch?
Yeah, and that's, you know, he didn't have a catch over 50 yards last year. Buck fans were buzzing about that. 41 was his longest. That a 58-yard touchdown grab, and they're checking him in the injury tent. Mike Gillislee just added in the Saints backfield. He gets the carry from Breeze and powers ahead. Up across the 30, whistle blows, ball down.
And we talked about it at the top. What would the role of Alvin Kamara be this season during the suspension with Mark Ingram out of the lineup? It really, a lot of this has to do with how productive Mike Gillislee and Jonathan Williams are at the running back position. They're going to try and combination replace Mark Ingram in that role.
And Sean Payton had a little bit of a different view than Drew Brees of how much Kamara would be used in this game. And there he is on the handoff, ankle tackle around the 33-yard line. And it was Quan Alexander, former LSU Tiger, making the play. Let's check in with Laura.
Sean Payton said the most important thing he does today, you guys, is figuring out how to balance Alvin Kamara's touches. Why is it so difficult? We just saw why. Because he said you want to get him the ball all the time, running and passing situations. But he said it's like saving your energy life in video games. You have to think of the big picture. I said, how tough is that? He said, extremely hard and stressful.
Jason Pierre-Paul limped off to the sideline for the Bucs on 3rd and 2. Breeze, the catch made, shoving his way across the 40 is Michael Thomas, and he's got a Saints first down.
Again, working the inside position, not just an outside receiver in the Saints offense, being able to kind of move around everywhere throughout the formation creates those matchup issues. Going against Vernon Hargreaves, who's a very good slot corner. You see the physicality after the catch.
Thomas set a Saints record with 104 catches last year for over 1,200 yards, just inside the 44 of the Saints. Breeze, quick throw, wide open at midfield is Ted Ginn. And knocked down around the 45 of the Bucs. Working again on Carlton Davis, second-round draft pick, the rookie corner from Auburn. And it was late in practice at Thursday when Brent Grimes suffered the groin injury and did not make the trip for the Buccaneers. And that's why he got pressed into playing more than they thought he would. Also, rookie M.J. Stewart, second-round pick from North Carolina, could help out if needed. Gillislee the back after a pickup of 11.
Ready, what's up?
Extra pressure on Breeze. He's on the move, signaling to go deep. And incomplete. Coverage was very good. And Carlton Davis part of that on Traquan Smith, the rookie.
Yeah, but you bring a little bit of pressure and you get Drew Brees out of the pocket, and that's one of the things you have to do. Everybody tries to do it. This time the Tampa Bay defense is successful. You can see right there, good coverage down the field. One of those tiered plays. You've got shallow, medium, and deep on that sideline. Covered well by the Bucs secondary and linebackers.
Vinny Curry added from the Eagles on that defensive line. But again, Pierre-Paul out. William Goldston taking his spot on 2nd and 10.
Liz. Ready, what's up?
Delayed blitz on Breeze. Middle of the field and the catch made. Benjamin Watson. Chris Conte on the coverage 37-year-old tight end returning to the Saints because he's a reliable choice for Breeze.
Yeah, and excited about him being back here because it was one of the positions that didn't have a lot of production last year. They went out and got Kobe Fleener, just really didn't work out there. You bring Ben Watson back, and you can see right there, it's one-on-one against a strong safety, and he beats Chris Conte.
Inside the 35 of the Bucs.
Ready, what's up?
Kamara. Inside the 30, down inside the 25 of the Bucs. Close to another first down.
And that's what Alvin Kamara does for you. This play is supposed to go right. Tampa hasn't defended well. Watch the adjustment that he makes. He takes a running play that's probably going to go for no gain and comes out the back door and gets a first down. I mean, those are things you can't coach against. The vision, the change of direction that Alvin Kamara has.
At the 24 of the Bucs, averaged 6 yards a carry last season. Jonathan Williams from Arkansas, the free agent, just up off the practice squad, now in the backfield.
Ready, what's up?
Williams knocked down, run away. The Bucs were there. Again, Alexander leading the charge.
Interested to see what this Bucs defense becomes this season. They really struggled last year. Obviously, a lot of new faces here, but you can see last place in those 4 major categories. And even right now, you know, for Mike Smith, he doesn't have all his guys out there. Vita Vea is down. Mitch Unrein is down. So guys you brought in to be a part of that D-line rotation, not healthy for you just yet.
Breeze, catch, slips a tackle. It's Michael Thomas. And he's down at the 19. It'll bring him third down. Quan Alexander is everywhere for this Buccaneer defense. That, yes, they were embarrassed last in sacks, gave up the yards. That's why they went out and drafted Vita Vea, number 1, who didn't play at all in the preseason. Rookie from Washington, and traded for Jason Pierre-Paul and added Vinnie Curry.
Not just the production on the field, but you got some guys coming from some Super Bowl teams, 2 Philadelphia Eagles in that mix. Jason Pierre-Paul won a Super Bowl with the Giants, so that experience also.
Early tipping point in this scoring affair. On 3rd and 3, Breeze floats it for Kamara just off the fingertips, and the coverage good. Davis running with him.
Again, you can displace him from the backfield, and he can run wide receiver routes. You see right there, he's going to draw cornerback coverage. That is the respect that teams will have for him this season as he breaks the formation.
Will Lutz, who was 31 out of 36, it's over 86% field goals last year from 36 yards away. And he nails it. Fast scoring Saints. 2 possessions, 2 scores. The Saints just ahead of the Bucs at 10-7. Drew Brees looking at, those are still photos. You can't have video on the sideline. 7 out of 9 so far for Drew Brees in this game, just over 90 yards. They have to settle for 3, and kicking off is Will Lutz. 2 possessions, 2 scores for the Saints. Second possession here. Sean Wilson had a strong return of 30 yards last time. This time he'll down it, and it come out to the 25-yard line. Laura.
The last time we saw Deshaun Jackson, he was going into the blue tent. They were working on his shoulder. He came out, they put a wrap underneath trying to protect it. He spent that last drive throwing and wincing the entire time, but he is standing there holding his helmet right now on the sideline. As he walked out of the blue tent, Jason Pierre-Paul walked in. Athletic trainers were working on him, walked in shaking his head, looking more frustrated, but he just walked out and is standing there talking to the defensive line right now.
Thank you very much. Ryan Fitzpatrick said, as you mentioned, Darryl, was the deepest receiving core he's had to work with in his career, as Peyton Barber breaks up across the 40 all the way up near midfield on first down run. From Peyton Barber, 2 great football names, and he made him look good there.
And this is something that Bucs fans are going to see a lot of. Running to the left behind Donovan Smith and Ali Marpet. And you got Alan Cross leading the way. Good patience by Peyton Barber to line and let all the blocks get settled. Then he hops outside, finds that open running lane.
Pickup of 23 yards. Chris Godwin, second-year receiver from Penn State, is playing in place of Deshaun Jackson at the moment. He's at the top of your screen. It's Barber again. It's straight ahead. Plowing through the Saints defense. Falling forward against Marcus Williams for another Bucs first down.
I am impressed by the running game right now in this early stages of the game, because this was an area of concern last year. You saw the offensive ranks where they were throwing the football in 2017 and how they struggled running the football. Nice job. We talk about the new rule in place, helmet to helmet. Well done by both players there.
He picked up a dozen. From the 40 of the Saints, Fitzpatrick. Batted away and incomplete. Cameron Jordan with the defensive play. Let's get a game break. Say hi, hello to Carissa Thompson.
Chris Myers, the funniest person I know. Here you go. How about this? Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski. This has happened 76 times. This connection, 21 yards. New England up 7-0. Chris, Darrell, and Laura.
All right, thank you. And by the way, Carolina playing later today on Fox against Dallas. Atlanta has already lost, so these two teams, the winner of this, will be in good shape to start the year in the NFC South. Ronald Jones, the rookie from USC, inactive. 3 running backs up for Tampa Bay. Jacquizz Rodgers, Sean Wilson, and Peyton Barber. Fitzpatrick on 2nd and 10 for Godwin. Wow. He held on. What a catch from Chris Godwin.
Oh, that is outstanding. And I can't tell you how good this is.
They hurry to the line.
Oh, he's all the way inside. I'm sorry, go one more guy down. There's a nice little rub right there to get Chris Godwin. But look at the extension and possession.
Floating one for Evans. Mike Evans has it inside the 5 of the Saints. He stayed in bounds against Marshawn Lattimore. So that hurry up after a gain of 16 on a perfect throw, and then another toss to Evans.
Yeah, and this was one of the things that Ryan Fitzpatrick told us about. If I get a chance one-on-one on the outside with Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore, I'll take my shots. I respect him as a corner, enjoyed watching him play last year, but you have to understand, Mike Evans is one of the biggest targets, best receivers in the NFL. You've got to take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, he's 6'5", said I can outjump any defensive back from the 3-yard line. Ryan Fitzpatrick is into the end zone for a Buccaneer touchdown. They're not joking about his running anymore.
Who needs breakaway speed when you got power around the goal line like that? Marcus Williams, I think, is a little bit surprised right now.
Did Todd Monken call that, or did Ryan Fitzpatrick call that?
This is outstanding. Again, the quick pull right there. Cam Jordan closes down, but look at the finish right there. Marcus Williams coming inside out, and it's all about pad level. Watch Ryan Fitzpatrick hit his pad level down.
The soon-to-be father of 7 children, playing for they've all been born in different cities. 7 different teams, 7 different cities. He was a 7th-round draft pick. And in his start, the opening of the season, he runs it in. His 14th career rushing touchdown. That deserves a wow. And the Bucs lead the Saints here in New Orleans. Ryan Fitzpatrick, a surprise to most, running it in to give the visiting Buccaneers the lead. And Barber carried the load. 3 rushes over 37 yards, but some sharp, crisp passing set the Bucs up. Tommy Lee Lewis back to return. Catanzaro. And here comes Tommy Lee Lewis. Sprinting up across the 26-yard line. Darrell Johnston, Chris Myers, Laura Oakman down on the field. Nice to have you watching the NFL on Fox with us. Well, some teams come in and try to slow the game down in the Superdome against the Saints and Drew Brees and that offense. Looks like the Bucs are going to try and air it out and outscore them.
Well, they had a great preseason. They put up a lot of points in the preseason. The quarterback position as a whole put up great statistics. So right now, yeah, they're choosing to slug it out with the Saints on their home turf. And I got to tell you, Peyton Barber has been the big surprise for me for this Bucs offense. We all knew how good those skill positions were, wide receiver, tight end in the passing game, but he's bringing an attitude to that run game for the Buccaneers.
Brees on first down. And that's Ted Ginn with a catch near another first down. Jason Pierre-Paul has come back out onto the field. Laura reported that he, coming out of the injury tent, was pointing to the leg and knee area. The former New York Giant, but active here, missed the last series. and still keeping an eye on Deshaun Jackson and his shoulder. So in adjustments, and you don't just do them at halftime, right? Mike Smith, the defense, had to adjust from that first series to the next time the Saints had the ball. What are they doing now?
Well, the one thing you always have to guard against the Saints is those scripted plays, those first 15. You weather that storm, and now you kind of get in and see what they wanted to do that afternoon as an offense.
Mike Gillislee, they need a yard for a first down. It was a tough yard if he got it, and it looks like he did. Darius Taylor playing because of the injury to Kendall Beckwith, who's on the physically unable to perform list. Another former LSU Tiger making the play was Darius Glanton last year, changed his name in the offseason. Now from the 37. A high-scoring, fast-moving opening quarter.
Over 5-8.
Yep.
Ready. Waiting. Set.
Breeze. Open. Michael Thomas inside the 30 of Tampa Bay.
That looks like Tampa Bay may have an opportunity to pressure Drew Brees with a little bit of a blitz from the left-hand side. He just climbs up in that pocket, and again, Michael Thomas, coming from that inside receiver position, is having a great start to the game today. Very, very difficult to cover him.
Carlton Davis was chasing him, a gain of 35 down to the 28. They're going to let the clock run down. Zach Line threw a terrific block to protect Drew Brees with Darryl Johnston and Chris Myers. What a start. The Saints and Bucks scoring quickly. New Orleans is on the move after one quarter, down by 4. New Orleans always a good scene, and when the Saints start the season at home, they haven't done that in a while. It's a big deal. The first quarter statistics, it's been an offensive show.
It really has. And look at that time of possession. You have Tampa Bay leading the game right now. The explosive touchdown to Deshaun Jackson.
Michael Thomas, 4 catches already. Over 65 receiving yards. Drew Brees, over 130 passing yards, 9 out of 11. From the 28 of the Bucks on first down, Brees for Ted Ginn. He's got it. Saints have a touchdown. "28 yards." And he was working on Carlton Davis, the rookie.
When we talk about defense, we always talk about the front and the pressure up there and the coverage on the back end. Same thing for the offense. Protection up front by the offensive line gives you the opportunity to stretch the field, and Drew Brees is going to try and find Carlton Davis as often as he can. If he gets matched up one-on-one, he takes advantage of it right there.
Will Lutz for the extra point. Saints have a 3-point lead. Now this from Verizon. So Drew Brees on that drive, 3 out of 3. You know, the Saints hadn't hosted the first 2 games of a season at home to open. And the elephant in the room is, and Drew Brees and both Sean Payton said, we're well aware, the last 4 seasons the Saints have started out 0-2. Despite winning the division last year and being just a heartbreak play away from going to the NFC Championship game, they want to start faster. Bucks have the same idea. It's been a fast start as Lutz kicks it high and deep, and Wilson will down it. And Fitzpatrick will bring Tampa Bay out to the 25-yard line. The path we mentioned at age 35 from the Rams to the Bengals on to Buffalo. He spent 4 seasons there. 1 year in Tennessee with the Titans, 1 year with the Texans, a couple with the Jets. He had his best and worst years there, and in his second season here as the backup to Winston.
And I think we talked about Ryan Fitzpatrick saying this was the deepest group of wide receivers that he's been a part of. Don't forget that first stop with St. Louis. That was the end of the greatest show on turf. So there were some good players in St. Louis at the time. So a nice compliment to this wide receiver group.
And there's Godwin open. He made a terrific catch. Ball comes out at the end. He crossed the 40 for a first down. Looked like Godwin got it back. And he did. The Bucks, at least they're signaling that. And so does the official.
This is one of those little plays during the course of the game that everybody will forget about tomorrow morning in the box score. That's a fumble right there. Look at all the Saints players around, and Chris Godwin is able to get back on top of that and secure possession.
A gain of 16. Deshaun Jackson has come back into the game. Bottom of your screen, the speedster, number 11, who had the shoulder injury in the big touchdown catch. Barber has running room across the 47-48 yard line. When the Saints had problems last year, it's when teams were able to run with success on them.
And that was something that they knew going into preseason and training camp, and they worked on it. They had one preseason game where it kind of popped up a little bit, but they kind of dismissed that because they played so well against the run during the course of training camp. And right now this afternoon, Dennis Allen and his group really struggling against a team that really was not a big threat to run the ball effectively.
Peyton Barber. This time the Saints stuff him. He's in his 3rd year from Auburn, the undrafted college free agent. He was the leading rusher for the Bucs last year, but had just 423 yards and only had 4 starts. But he's the back, and Dirk Cutter says he's a 3-down back. He's capable of all the things we need. On 3rd and 4, Jacquizz Rodgers checks in. Extra receivers. Fitzpatrick for O.J. Howard, and he's got it. Looked like some hand fighting going on with the defensive back, but O.J. Howard, the 2nd-year tight end at 6'6", was a big target for Fitzpatrick.
On the outside in this formation, working against a linebacker, that's a mismatch, and that's what happens when you have a very, very deep skill set. You can spread those guys out across the formation. Somewhere along the way, there's going to be a matchup that you like.
Gain of 35 yards. Middle of the field is open, and Fitzpatrick, who ran for a touchdown, that's what he means about the awkward slide, but gave himself up in a hurry.
Yeah, but he recognizes it, and he takes what the defense is giving him. You know, he's going to try and get some positive yards, put himself in a favorable 2nd down position. So watch how quickly he makes this decision. Everybody's covered. He sees the open space in front of him, and he gets yourself into a 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. That's a very good down to be in offensively.
5-yard pickup. Barber knocked out hard by Demario Davis.
Another one of those guys they brought in to kind of shore up some of the spots defensively that needed a little bit of veteran presence, and this is a really nice job by Demario Davis. Watch him get off this block right here, and then look at the tackle. That's a clinic.
That's the first negative play, negative yardage in this game for either team. On 3rd and 7, Jacquizz Rodgers, the back. Fitzpatrick on the move for the end zone, and flags fly. There's a flag at the 9, and one came in from the back part of the goal line. Dennis Allen, Saints defensive coordinator, looking on moments ago.
There's 2 fouls in the play. Holding, defense, number 21. Pass interference, offense, number 10. Those penalties will offset, replay, 3rd down.
The call on Adam Humphries of the Bucs and Patrick Robinson, the nickel for the Saints. Wind them up. 3rd and 7. Let's try this again.
And this is another one of those areas that Sean Payton talked to us about. 3rd down, being able to get off the field, being able to force field goals in the red zone.
Fitzpatrick for Cameron Brate. He's got the ball and a flag flies. There may have been an offensive push. There was a call a moment ago on Humphreys was pass interference by the offense. This may go against the Bucs and Cameron Brate. Ruled a catch and out of bounds with a flag.
We're really in the field is an incomplete pass. Pass interference, offense. Number 84, penalties decline, fourth down.
Well, they changed the ruling because one official called it a catch. The other one said it was an incomplete pass.
Well, here's Cameron Brate working on the outside against Von Bell.
But there is a penalty.
Yeah. So you got right there. That's inside 5 yards. Now here comes the release. I don't really see anything. I see two guys fighting on the outside, kind of equally responsible for the contact that's there. There was a wrestling match in those first 5, which is legal, but once they got beyond 5 yards, I didn't really see anything there.
Well, the Saints didn't need to accept the penalty because the eventual ruling, and it looked like one official overruled another or said he had a better angle, that it was incomplete. So Chandler Catanzaro, and don't tell Buck fans about field goals and the kicking game. They hope they have an answer here. You see his numbers. Former Jet and Arizona Cardinal from 33 yards away. Brian Anger, the holder, and Catanzaro ties this game. Just over 11 minutes to play. Saints and Bucs at 17 each. Drew Brees ready to go back to work. Each team 3 possessions. Each team 2 touchdowns and a field goal. And that's where we are here in the second quarter. Catanzaro after the field goal. Ready to kick off, and Tommy Lee Lewis. The returners have been busy early. Line drive kick, and Lewis will down it to the 25. In part 1, Vince Young dazzled at the Rose Bowl. Part 2 was a double overtime thriller. We're getting ready for the third part of the trilogy, USC at Texas. Saturday, 8 Eastern on Fox, also on the Fox Sports app. Along with producer Fran Morrison, our director Brian Lilly, we're glad you're watching Kickoff 2018. Deshaun Jackson came in on that last series, had the touchdown catch, and they've been working on that shoulder. He's looking on as the Bucs defense. Somebody will try and stop somebody here sooner or later, right? Kamara in the backfield. Brees to throw, and incomplete for the fullback, Zach Line. See, he's upset. It's the first time we've seen him really kind of miss on anything today. Well,
and right there, I think it's some of that the preciseness of this offense, and there's a lot of subtleties that go with it, and there's a lot written about it. How long, Drew Brees, Sean Payton, Pete Carmichael have been together. How this playbook has expanded, and it was funny to listen to him kind of explain it to us with an analogy that we'll get into. It made perfect sense to me because I've always wondered when they talk about it. How do you really explain that?
Second and 10. Michael Thomas got down at the 30. He referred to it as algebra and calculus, I think.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of broke it down into where you would be as a student with math. And some of the guys are doing algebra, and some of the guys are able to do calculus right now. And as they start to get better and better and move up that ladder, their role starts to expand. We move them through the formation, but they understand how complicated it is. And for a young guy to be able to get him in and just get him comfortable and then move as he starts to progress and understand the entire complexity of the playbook.
MJ Stewart has come in for Davis, one of the corner spots on 3rd down and 4. Blitz. Brees is smothered by the Bucs, and Vinny Curry with a Tampa Bay sack.
Really quick, really good turn around the corner here from the left defensive end. Watch as the ball is snapped. Watch him get upfield. Watch him turn right there beyond the pocket, and everything starts to collapse around.
Deshaun Jackson has come in to return punts. They talked about this through training camp. Didn't do it a lot in the preseason, but this was one of the things he did so well earlier in his career. Watching this, Morstead punt from the 20. And knocked down right away at the 22-yard line. Special teams coverage by the Saints. Chris Banjo leading the way. Enjoying the start of the NFL season from down south in the Crescent City. 59-year-old Dirk Cutter in his third year as the Buccaneers head coach from Pocatello, Idaho. Same high school as Taysom Hill, who we saw earlier, the reserve quarterback for the Saints, and for the first time, at least in his eyes, relinquishing the play calling. Todd Monken doing that on offense for this Buccaneers team. Peyton Barber with the carry in a big hole. Barber fighting to get up to the 30-yard line.
To me, this is the difference in the game, is the effectiveness of the Tampa Bay running game. I mean, Peyton Barber was almost 7 yards per carry going into that rush right there. So a great job by the offensive line up front. And now, you know, that's going to open up this passing game. And we've seen what these wide receivers and tight ends can do down the field.
There's Monken, and he's looking at that average per carry, almost 6 yards. DeMar Dotson back at right tackle after knee surgery in the offseason. Ryan Jensen, a free agent signee at center from Baltimore. The improvements on that line.
Sunday. Here we go.
The screen, Humphries drops the ball. It was a 2nd down and 2. Laura.
You talked about Monken calling these plays. I talked to Dirk Cutter about this, and he said, I can help in other ways. Substitutions, how to maneuver our wide receivers around. In between series, I don't have to be staring at my surface the whole time. I can be aware of everything, talking to defensive players and being in the kicking game. He said, though, it's hard to give up something. That's the reason why you got the job in the first place. But right now, I've seen him walk all through this, all through being a part of every part of his team.
3rd down and 2. It's a 1st down for the Bucs up across the 40. Mike Evans with the catch.
Really nice timing on this. Watch as Mike Evans snaps this route around. We're going to get into a little bit of hurry up right here, but watch him snap this around and then watch the ball. Watch as the ball comes in. There's not much Marshawn Lattimore can do. That's just a well-executed play.
Evan Smith has come in at the right guard spot for Caleb Benenoch. And a big 3rd down conversion in a tie game. Fitzpatrick sideline throw and the catch inside the 40. He held on. It's O.J. Howard again. Given name Otarius Jabari. That's why he wants to be called O.J. But what a grab. A gain of 19. And they go to the line without a huddle.
And size matchup down the field. And there's the athletic ability at the point of the catch.
Plenty of time. Middle of the field open. It's Evans. Inside the 25. Another Bucs 1st down.
I was really expecting to see the Saints defense take that next step. They've been progressing upward over the last couple of years with Dennis Allen. Had a nice season last year and improving in a lot of different areas. But today, this Tampa Bay offense has got Dennis Allen's group on their heels.
Yeah, we're seeing Ryan Fitzpatrick at age 35 take a next step. You know, he joked with us about he's got average, maybe below average arm strength, but enough to get the job done. That was a well-thrown ball. On 1st and 10, Barber remains the back. Time again. Fitzpatrick has run twice already, and he picks up yardage going out of bounds. Let's get a game break. Say hi to Kurt Menefee.
All right, we all know the Le'Veon Bell story in Pittsburgh, so James Conner not only gets his start, but his first NFL touchdown, and celebrates with the offensive line afterwards as Pittsburgh leads it in Cleveland 7-0. Chris, Moose, and Laura.
Thank you. Thank you, Kurt. And the Browns will be here in the Superdome next weekend. Next Sunday, you'll see that on Fox.
Ready.
Barber thrown down right away. Here comes a flag. Barber maybe got a yard. Saints were ready for him there. Demario Davis and A.J. Klein. haven't had a lot of penalties called in this game so far.
Holding, defense, number 95, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It's an unusual call on a defensive lineman going against Tyler Davison.
Yeah, you're really trying to prevent that offensive lineman from getting to that linebacker level. So you got a double team coming. So Tyler Davidson's right here on your nose. So watch, he's going to prevent that second guy from climbing. So you got a center guard combo. You can see him. He kind of hooks and pulls Ryan Jensen. Doesn't allow him to get to that Mike linebacker.
Fitzpatrick shovels underneath Jaquez Rogers. And there is Sheldon Rankins to make the play. You know, one other reason maybe Dirk Cutter, and he said we're so familiar in the division. Remember, he was in Atlanta, Mike Smith and Sean Payton, and the coaching staffs know each other, what they do, that Todd Monken calling the plays, even though he's been with the Bucs a few years, that might bring a creative wrinkle to what the Saints defense might be expecting.
He called them all through preseason, but you know you're not going to show everything in preseason, so it's the same. I think that this may be having an impact on Dennis Allen and how he's defending right now. Don't want to discount the execution by this Bucs offense, though. They have been very, very good up until then.
Well, the noise might have been too much, and the veteran with a veteran move. Why risk anything when you're down here? And he'll talk it over. Monken is upstairs and can directly go through the headset to talk to Fitzpatrick, but he told us sometimes it does get, when you're down at one end in New Orleans, so loud you can't hear the plays being sent in.
You can't. I've played here before, and coming out as an offense off your goal line, it's very, very different than being at your 25-yard line, and then even going in, you get into that red zone. This is an intelligent fan base here that understands they can create an advantage for their team at certain times, and when you get close to the goal line, that 10-yard line, it's completely different in your ability to hear clearly.
Dennis Allen's defense has had its hands full with the running of Barber and the crisp passing of Fitzpatrick. So they're going to make a little more noise on 2nd and 8. Bucs will have 2 timeouts remaining in the half. Fitzpatrick will run again and slide again, and that'll bring up a 3rd down.
Yeah, and I don't know, by the guys down the field, I don't know if that was a quarterback draw.
It looked like it.
Yeah, it looked the way he reacted and moved so quickly. But you kind of watch some of the guys downfield, and they're not positioned that way. Let's take a look at the offensive line. Let's see. Was this a called quarterback draw, or is this just him recognizing it looks like man coverage? I don't think it is. I think that's just Ryan Fitzpatrick. Hey, you know what? I can go get 4 yards right now.
It'll be 3rd down at 6. Fitzpatrick, catch made, touchdown, Chris Godwin. Not only did he hold on, he had to keep his feet in bounds, making the turn at the goal line.
Yeah, but watch the location of this throw by Ryan Fitzpatrick on the back shoulder. Tight coverage on the outside, so they're going to go down. They're going to do that back shoulder fade, and watch the location. It's at the top of your screen. And as you pointed out, Chris, not just where the ball is thrown, but now what Chris Godwin has to do. There's a tight coverage. Ken Crawley in a good spot. Just a perfect placement of the football, and a great job by Chris Godwin working the sidelines. This Tampa Bay offense is executing flawlessly in this first half.
It has been reviewed and confirmed and stunned here in the Superdome. Will Lutz kicking for the Saints, and Chandler Catanzaro the extra point for Tampa Bay. They have been busy with extra points and field goals. And Godwin, second-year receiver, had an outstanding training camp and preseason. It's paying off in the season opener. When Ryan Fitzpatrick said this was the deepest receiving core he had ever played with over his 14 years, he wasn't kidding.
And the productivity, look at these yards per catch, over 32 for Deshaun Jackson, O.J. Howard at 27, 16 for Mike Evans, Chris Godwin right around 14. Let's not forget about O.J. Howard. He's 2 for 54. He's 27 yards per catch. That is unbelievable by this passing game of the Bucs.
Down 7. The Saints have the football. Tommy Lee Lewis out of his own end zone. And great special teams. There's a flag down as he goes down at the 16-yard line.
Yeah, I think we'll have the helmet to helmet, and this is that posture that they don't want the guys to get in position of.
Linebacker Jack Sitchie on the special teams unit. Let's see what the call.
Personal foul, low block, kicking team, number 48. 15-yard penalty, first and 10.
Well, that went from a terrific special teams play to now setting Drew Brees up in good field position.
No, I don't think he goes below the waist. I think he's in that posture that the NFL is trying to get out right there with the collision against Mike Gillislee.
So leading with the head.
Yeah, and he gets down a little bit too far, so they're trying to get that posture of the point of contact out of the game. So I thought they were going to get Jack Sitchie on that.
Spotted at the 32 of the Saints. If anybody's up to a game of, hey, I can outscore you before you outscore me, it's Drew Brees. The pitch to Mike Gillislee. And the Saints get it. Ball's out, and the Buccaneers have it. The ball fumbled. Justin Evans with a scoop, and he is in for a Buccaneers touchdown. Gillislee, signed late by Sean Payton, had a fumbling issue when he was a member of the Patriots. Ball came out. Evans grabbed it and ran and scored.
And we touched on this before. The productivity and the number of reps that Alvin Kamara will get all depends on Mike Gillislee and Jonathan Williams and how they're playing. He tries to cover the ball up. You can see him go to two hands. It still comes out. They knock it loose. Great play, great vision. Get it up, run it down the field. Now, right now, Sean Payton's got to be thinking, all right, there's a huge mistake right here by one of my running backs. This is just going to add more plays, more possibility for Alvin Kamara to be on the field over an extended period of time while Mark Ingram is on suspension.
It was reviewed and confirmed. Touchdown Buccaneers. Vernon Hargraves knocked that ball loose. And Justin Evans from Texas A&M ran it in from 34 yards out. And the extra point, and it's a 14-point Buccaneer lead. And I'm sure Sean Payton is thinking, if I have to use Kamara on every snap the rest of the way to win this game, we may have to go that way. That's something Drew Brees was talking to us about after we sat with him on Friday's practice.
It's not about philosophy. It's not what about you've done in the past. It's what you have to do right now. And if they have to rely on Alvin Kamara to be their go-to bell cow style running back, getting out of that comfort zone of running back by committee just because they have no other options, they're going to have to do that through the first 4 weeks of the season.
And the elephant in the room, and Sean Payton said, look, the way the season ended last year was one thing. This 0-2 start last 4 years, despite making it into the playoffs and winning the division last year, we have to start better. We have to start faster. And they did. They came down and scored. They just can't stop Tampa Bay, and now a turnover gives the Bucs an even more of an advantage. And remember, the Buccaneers deferred to start the game, so the Saints have to kick off to them to start the second half. Lewis will down this and out to the 25-yard line. Well, Dirk Cutter said he's the perfect guy to have in this situation because of Winston sitting out the first 3 over that suspension, and Fitzpatrick is playing like he's 25 instead of 35.
The ability for him to take all those reps with the first team offense through preseason and training camp is paying huge dividends. You can see the chemistry he has with his wide receivers and tight ends on the outside. He understands their strengths, the communication, the play changing, cadence and tempo in and out of the huddle. Very impressive today.
And that aggressive offense has put the pressure on the Saints, and now their defense produces a touchdown.
It's a huge possession for the Saints offense right here.
Kamara is in, and Brees slips a tackle, and it completes to Michael Thomas at the 30. And it looked like he was not touched by a Buccaneer, but the official is ruling him down. I think the official is going to rule that he gave himself up, but he was just diving for the football. This is worth another look. Now they may have blown the whistle.
I don't know. I don't know if there was a whistle blown and the officials thought they killed that play on the field, but it sure didn't look like he was touched. And he didn't give himself up.
2nd and 5. Open is Kamara. And he's got it. Steps out of bounds around the 48-yard line. Fans are still upset about the no call of 18.
But center Max Hunger's trying to quiet him down. The offense is on the field.
Right,
I know you're not happy with that play, but you know, let's let the offense function out here.
You know that the Saints can score in a millisecond, and that's what they're hoping to do. Down 14. All 3 timeouts. 3 minutes to go before the half. That's Michael Thomas, and brought down at the 46-yard line. Dean Blandino, our rules analyst, with Mike Pereira at the Fox Network Center. Dean, what did you see on that play?
Yeah, well, I didn't see the receiver touched, and it didn't look like he gave himself up. But that's one of the things that was ruled. They either ruled down by contact or that he gave himself up. And at that point, it's over. The whistle is blown. Nothing you can do there, but it didn't look like he was down.
Yeah, in our replay, he clearly was not touched. We didn't hear a whistle, but if play stops, I guess that's the way the rules go. Thank you, Dean, for keeping a close eye on things. Unfortunate break for the Saints. Kamara running the football. He's got a first down inside the 40. Nearing the 2-minute warning.
I think what Sean Payton is going to realize is he's just going to have to roll Alvin Kamara out there for the next 4 weeks is as necessary to get his team off to a great start. You can't worry about touches. You can't worry about snaps and the impact it's going to have on him in November and December.
We've reached the 2-minute warning, the season opener in New Orleans. They hope to be celebrating after the 4th quarter in the French Quarter. But right now, the Buccaneers lead it nearing the half. Visa halftime report coming up. Deshaun Watson and the Texans trailing the Patriots. The Steelers trying to ruin the Browns home opener. The Colts were leading Cincinnati much of the day. Also Jacksonville taking on the Giants. Breeze with time in the pocket and incomplete. A delayed hit on Kamara. And it was Ryan Smith.
That's a nice job by Ryan Smith. He read that really well. You've got trips to the right side. You get Alvin Kamara out the backside, and Drew Brees had to hold that ball. Came to him late.
From the 38-yard line of the Bucs.
Fans here thinking he might have got there a little bit early. Yeah, maybe a half step.
Hey, heat.
Kamara as a receiver to the left of Brees. Top of your screen. He has the football. Puts a move on. It's got a first down. Kamara down the sideline and knocked out of bounds.
That's why he's so dangerous. He takes a 7 or 8 yard play and turns it into a 22, 23 yard play. He's done it a couple of times this afternoon, and Mike Smith knew to this. He told us, he goes, you watch him on film. He's bigger than you thought he was. He's faster than you thought he was. He's a better receiver than you thought he was. But look at that space right there. He's got 2 defenders closing in on him.
I think if you're Sean Payton at this point of the game, you just don't take him out. You can't afford to rest him. You're nearing the half. You're down 14. He picked up 23 yards on that play from the 15 of the Bucs. We have a timeout. And looks like the Bucs used their second timeout. Let's check in with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Chris. So Bengals trailing 13-3 when Andy Dalton finds 9th overall pick John Ross for this 3-yard score. Colts still up 13-10. It's Chris, Darrell, and Laura.
Thanks, Carissa. So Dirk Cutter's defense, there was a little substitution question issue of who's out there. That's why they used the timeout. The Bucs will have 1 remaining. Saints have all 3. By the way, the 31 points the Bucs have up That's a record in a first half for Tampa Bay. It's the third time they've been able to equal that mark. The last time was in 2000 with Dirk Cutter again handing the play calling over to his offensive coordinator Todd Monken for the first time.
Make my form, ready. We're waiting. What's that?
Kamara knocked down right at the 15-yard line. Lavonte David, Pro Bowler from Miami, and played his college ball at Nebraska, making the play. Clock running under a minute 30. Saints fans anxious here. On second and 10.
Ready. You waiting? What's that?
Breeze. Kamara. It's going to be close to the first down.
I think the other thing about Alvin Kamara and worrying about his wear and tear during these next 4 games is he's so elusive. It never seems like he takes that big hit when he has the ball in his hands.
And I think the Bucs defense, Darryl, you said they have to worry about where he is, whether he's split out as a receiver or running back, and then Michael Thomas, who also you can't afford to double him. So even if Kamara is out there catching a breather, not necessarily the target on the play, I think he does a lot for your Saints offensive scoring possibilities.
Absolutely. And it's kind of what, Laura made reference to that lifeline thing when Sean Payton talked about, the video game, and that's what you're worried about. How much do we impact him down the stretch by pushing him here early in this part of the season? And I always say this: you're never going to win a championship in the month of September, but you sure can lose one. And that's the one thing that Sean Payton's got to guard against, getting off to another poor start this season, because he's worried about the health of Alvin Kamara in November and December. He's got to play the hand that was dealt, and if he has to take more snaps, he's got to take more snaps.
The Saints did use a timeout, and here's the measurement. That's how close Kamara came to the first down. It'll be third and that much, as obviously has to be 4 down, especially 4 down territory the way he thinks. Kamara with 4 catches in the game and 6 rushing attempts. He has been thrown to a couple other times. On 3rd and 1. End zone wide open. Touchdown Saints. It's Michael Thomas.
Well, Mike Smith called him a game wrecker. He has been that. You think about the speed and the height outside, a little confusion in the coverage right there with a little bit of a swap release, and he pops open wide open in the field. He's done a lot of his damage from that inside receiver position this afternoon.
He's the leading receiver in the game for either team. 8th catch of the game for Michael Thomas. Once the extra point.
Pretty good block by Alvin Kamara on the outside too to stop a blitzing linebacker.
Back to a 7-point difference. And Drew Brees over 230 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
And this is just a nice play design right there. You can see the confusion in the coverage. If you get him to pop wide open, Michael Thomas pops wide open in the middle of the end zone. That's a nice play design.
Brees, who signed the 2-year contract worth $50 million back in March at age 39. No let up. Every time you think he might be father time might be catching up, he just keeps producing. And Michael Thomas in his 3rd year on the receiving end.
And that as soon as they started that drive, we talked about how critical this was, because you made the point, they deferred. Tampa Bay's getting the ball back to start the second half, and you're down 14 at that point. That was a huge possession for the Saints, and that was an excellent drive to get some points right before the half. Now their defense has got to get out. Tampa only got 1 timeout. We'll see if they can slow down this Bucs offense.
Haven't had a punt in the first half of this game from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Only the Saints have punted. Yeah, let's check in, see what's going on with Kurt in L.A. Kurt?
Coming up on the Visa halftime, Deshaun Watson and the Texans visit the Patriots. The Steelers try to upset the Browns home opener. And Andrew Luck returns to football, taking on the Bengals. It's all coming up on the Visa halftime.
I wonder if Kurt's working his way up to the 5th floor where all the executives are. That's where the bosses, Eric Shanks, John Eds, hang out. 25-yard line. How do you play this? You're just going to run the clock out if you're Todd Monken and Dirk Cutter?
No, something safe here on the first play. What do you get in yardage? And then all of a sudden you roll into your 2-minute package.
Adam Humphries. Here's a flag down, and he's loose. Adam Humphries into Saints territory, all the way down inside the 10-yard line. The flag back at the 25. And it looks like a hold against the Bucs.
It's just a simple quick screen to the outside. It's a safe call. What do you get as a result of the play?
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 76. 10-yard penalty replay. First down.
Well, you got a lot more than you bargained for throwing a little quick screen to the wide receiver. You got an opportunity to get those 7 points you just gave up right back. And a critical penalty by Donovan Smith.
The left tackle, who has been an Ironman at that position, battled a knee injury through the end of spring training. And it's right there. That was a terrific run by Adam Humphries. Part of that depth at wide receiver. Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson, Chris Godwin, who has a touchdown. And Adam Humphries, along with O.J. Howard and Cameron Braid at tight end. Now 1st and 20. Jacquizz Rodgers. See if the Saints use one of their timeouts. And they do. They'll have one remaining. Daryl Johnston, Chris Myers enjoying the NFL on Fox here in New Orleans. Well, you never know what you're going to get on opening day. What did you think you'd see based on what you have seen so far in this game?
I did not think I would see Tampa Bay run the ball as effectively as they have, and that's created problems for New Orleans defense because I did think that they were going to be good in the passing game, but they've been even better than I thought. A Saints defense that I thought was going to play a little bit better. They brought some veteran guys in to shore up some of those young areas when you talk about positionally. I'm surprised at the performance of the Saints defense today. They have really struggled to get off the field.
And I think we'll see some more of Alvin Kamara in the second half, regardless of the snap count. On 2nd and 17, and they have figured the math here that even with another Saint timeout, the Bucs will be able to run the clock out without having, at least they hope, to punt the football. This is another one of those things as a head coach when you don't have to worry about calling plays and the usage of the clock and replay challenge. It makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, a lot of times when you see a head coach struggling with the timing and all the different things there, he's usually a former coordinator calling the offensive plays or the defensive plays. And he's young.
Let's take a look at the Swiffer play of the half, and there were quite a few. Believe me, we could show you a highlight reel, but Ryan Fitzpatrick
lowering the shoulder,
calling his own number, running for a touchdown. He's also thrown for 2 touchdowns. Look forward to an exciting second half here in the Big Easy. Let's get all the other highlights. Say hi to the guys in Los Angeles. The Visa halftime report with Kurt Menefee. Getting ready for the start of the second half. The Saints getting set to kick off. Will Lutz and Sean Wilson, the rookie free agent from Duke, back to receive. Waving everybody off. That's a touchback out to the 25-yard line. Comes Ryan Fitzpatrick, and we check in with Laura.
I talked to Dirk Cutter, who likes what he's seeing offensively, saying that guys are making plays. When we do run it, we are winning the line of scrimmage. I didn't even get the word defense out of my mouth when he just interrupted and said, Kamara's an animal, a monster. We need to tackle 41. Daryl, I don't know if you're going to like this. I talked to Sean Payton about Kamara. He said, we got to be smart with him. Depends on how the game is going, but we will continue continue with the rotation. Defensively, we got to get off the field. Can't disrupt the passer, have to disrupt the receiver.
Right now, it is about the Saints defense. They have been unable to stop Fitzpatrick. 15 throws, 15 rushing attempts. Perfect balance for the Bucs in the first half. And all day for Fitzpatrick on the run to Mike Evans across the 36-yard line. Might be good enough for a first down. In case you're wondering, the most points the Buccaneers have ever scored is 48. They've done that twice in their existence, and once did come against the New Orleans Saints. So Fitzpatrick biding time, gets the first down completion. Peyton Barber knocked down right around the line of scrimmage. Ken Crawley from his corner spot.
I think the biggest point that Sean shared with Lauro is really the third down defense. If the third down defense is better for the Saints, you can ease back on your decision about a Kamara. But I still believe that you've got to play the games with your best opportunity to win. And I know that Coach Payton is thinking about the health and the productivity of Alvin Kamara down the stretch in a season that has high expectations.
56 of the
But boy, they've gotten off to bad starts the last 4 years.
0-2. Last 4 years to open the season for the Saints. Dirk Cutter has won his only 2 season openers as the Bucs head coach. Open, and the catch made going out of bounds for a first down is Deshaun Jackson. Had a 58-yard touchdown grab in the first half of this game. They have not put pressure on Ryan Fitzpatrick, and here they go to the line without a huddle. Spotted at the 46 of Tampa Bay.
Here we go.
Humphreys goes out of bounds, gain of just a few.
And I think one of the things that transpired through the preseason and training camp for the Saints defense was, the play of their defensive line. There's conversations about, having to make roster cuts with guys who played really, really well. I think the depth even surprised Dennis Allen and what he had. So, the rotation that they could have and the playmaking ability that they have is just not showing up right now in the pass rush and the control of the running game.
Their first-round draft pick, Marcus Davenport, the rookie from UTSA. Haven't called his name today. He's on the field. Fitzpatrick hit as he throws, and there's a flag down. As Fitzpatrick went down with his helmet coming off.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 93, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And this is the new one this year with the body weight on the quarterback. So watch as Daniel Onyemata comes through. He's going to break through on the inside. And watch as he takes Ryan Fitzpatrick to the ground, all the body weight on top of the quarterback. And that's one of the new ones that's out there this year.
And a point of emphasis, and Sean Payton is on the competition committee for the first time and said it's important, helps prevent injury on quarterbacks. Onyemata from Nigeria by way of Canada, played college football. He's the meanest guy on defense according to the Saints and Cam Jordan. Too mean for that one. And on first down, Fitzpatrick. Open, Mike Evans. He is down to the 5 of the New Orleans Saints. And a flag down as some scuffling is going on at the 35-yard line. Here comes Evans to help out.
Well, we've got another roughing the quarterback penalty initially, and then we had the melee breakout a little bit off to the side, and another flag was thrown there.
And remember the history with Lattimore and Evans going back to last year. A cheap shot, an ejection, an apology. Both said they were over it. They weren't directly involved in that one, at least when it started.
Personal foul, defense, number 95. Penalties decline. Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 93. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
So Onyemata, another penalty. It could have been called on Davison as well.
I think it's actually on Davenport 92.
92?
That wasn't, yeah.
Right there.
And
Okay.
I don't know what it was. His helmet's off to the side. I would like, a little bit more clarity, but here's the big play down the field with Mike Evans.
Working on Marshawn Lattimore. Back-to-back penalties on the Saints defense. You see the steam coming out of Sean Payton.
Well, I thought that Marcus Davenport did a good job of getting the helmet to the side and the shoulder on the inside.
On 1st and goal, it's Peyton Barber, and he's going nowhere. Harold Johnston, Chris Myers from New Orleans, where the history. Remember Lattimore jawing at Jameis Winston, and watch Mike Evans come in to defend his quarterback, and he said, hey, it was a cheap shot. I had to defend my guy, and then it erupted. There were ejections and fines and discipline. And they played it the last game of the year, week 17. The Bucs won that game. In fact, these two teams, the last 3 years, have split their 2 series meetings during the course of the season in the division. Fitzpatrick. Out of bounds. Alan Cross, backup tight end / fullback. The target. And after they ran and had a loss of 1 and incomplete, Evans now looks like he's hurting, heading to the Bucs sideline in pain. 3rd and goal from the 3. Fitzpatrick's throw incomplete. Freddie Martino was never open, and here's more shoving. Here comes a flag inside the 5.
And you see Kurt Coleman right there, number 29, the veteran safety, trying to get everybody to relax. The emotions getting a little away from the Saints defense on that drive right there. Kurt's talking to the official right now. That's the veteran leadership that they were looking for when they brought Kurt Coleman in.
Something Drew Brees said has been missing from this defense for the last few years, and they hope they found it.
Personal foul after the play. Offense number 66. 15-yard penalty. 4th down.
So after they were stopped, center Ryan Jensen called for the penalty. This time it's on the Bucs. It'll back him up and make the Catanzaro field goal a little lengthier from 38 yards. He's been good on all his extra points and a field goal earlier. Made from 33. Let's see the exact spot. More like 36 yards. Make it a 10-point Buccaneer lead. Chandler Catanzaro delivers. The Bucs add to their lead. NFC South division rivals going at it. Well, if you tuned in late, Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, Dirk Cutter handing over the play calling to him for the first time in the NFL. Monken, by the way, at Southern Mississippi after 2 years as a head coach, called plays, but then gave up in his 3rd year of the play calling. This is Dirk Cutter's 3rd year as head coach of the Bucs, and after things got a little crazy go nuts between these two teams, Tampa Bay settles for a field goal. The Bucs have scored on every possession in this game. Lewis downs it. 25-yard line. You know, Dirk Cutter talked to us, and he saw it in Jacksonville going back to last year. Through training camp, working, there are guidelines, I guess, about how hard you can practice, but he said we wanted to make sure we took it to the whistle, we let the contact go. We wanted to do that in training camp so we'd be ready when the regular season rolled around. We wanted that toughness.
Yeah, absolutely. And he saw it firsthand with the Jacksonville Jaguars, with Doug Marrone and Tom Coughlin coming in. And there were guys that were complaining about it at the time, but they went to the AFC Championship game. That toughness became a part of their fiber during the course of the season, and he wanted to incorporate some of that. And he got a little pushback from the guys, but I think they finally saw the results in the practices with the Titans.
Calvin Alvin Kamara, who has 10 touches, making 11. Gerald McCoy on the tackle. Yeah, players, even Mike Evans said, we complained a little bit, then we saw the results. We said maybe we needed it. The offensive line, it certainly showed up, and that has showed up today for the Bucs.
Well, I think the surprise that we've had in the effectiveness of Peyton Barber in that running game is a direct result of that toughness. I've always felt that training camp was an unnecessary evil you have to go through to get to the regular season, but the one group that benefited the most was the offensive line, and boy, Tampa Bay's offensive line has done a nice job today.
Yeah, and Dirk Cutter said, I knew the Jags players complained early in the year, but when I saw them in the championship game, I said maybe we can go that route.
They weren't complaining anymore.
Breeze on second down. Kamara, and snuck down right away. Read well by Quan Alexander. Remember, the Buck defense playing without their best cover guy in Brent Grimes, and late in the week they knew he went down. Carlton Davis started. MJ Stewart, a couple of second-round draft picks have filled that spot. Michael Thomas has had a big game already, but Saints are trailing on the scoreboard by 10, and now it's 3rd and 13.
And so far with this first possession by the Tampa Bay defense, the defensive line has really played well these first few snaps here.
One sack in the game for either team. That belongs to the Bucs.
Ready.
And a timeout needed. First possession of the second half for the Saints. Drew Brees is not going to like that. Saints have the football, facing a 3rd and 13. Intense focus. What will Sean Payton call Drew Brees on 3rd down? They need to get up to the 35-yard line. Alvin Kamara is over on the sideline looking on. And Brees goes underneath. Austin Carr will be stopped short of the first down.
That's why you draw it up. That's why you're getting out of those 3rd and long situations. You cover everything beyond the marker. You force the quarterback to check it down, and you rally up and you sure tackle. That's exactly what happens right here. You know, Drew Brees gives them an opportunity, Austin Carr an opportunity to get the first on a catch and run, but it's good tackling.
Adam Humphries back to receive the punt of Thomas Morstead, special teams captain once again. Seems like he has been one forever. Just his second punt of this game. The Buccaneers have yet to punt. Humphries right away at the 25, brought down where the Saints Justin Hardy special teams play is made, and the Bucs still jawed at each other, these two teams. The officials are watching closely. A frustrated Drew Brees. The Bucs a 10-point lead and the football. 25-yard line, and Ryan Fitzpatrick, who thought about retiring a couple of years ago after a rough stretch with the Jets in New York. Running the Buccaneers here with a 10-point lead in the 3rd. Peyton Barber. Blocks. Let's get a game break and say hi again to Carissa.
Thanks, Chris. The 49ers trailing 10-3. Jimmy G, well, gets intercepted by rookie first-round pick Mike Hughes, who returns this one 28 yards for the score. 17-6. Vikings lead. Chris?
Well, the Saints fans having a horror anytime they see anything in Minnesota, having flashbacks, but hoping today things could be different. After a gain of 4, it looks like Barber didn't get that much.
Green Thunder! Mike's 51! Mike's 51! Here we go!
Fitzpatrick can run, slides early short of the first down. Good time to look at the comparative numbers.
Yeah, and I think you're going to be surprised by this. Look at what Ryan Fitzpatrick has done going up against a future Hall of Famer and Drew Brees. And again, just allowing the guys around you to play their roles and having that time that he was able to spend during training camp and preseason with the #1 guys. And you know, not to say Drew Brees hasn't had a heck of a day himself. This has been a very entertaining game up until this point.
3rd down and 1. This is a big moment for the Saints defense. Jacquizz Rodgers is in with Fitzpatrick. Here comes the blitz. It's picked up. Sideline defender falls down, but the pass over the head of Chris Godwin. Ken Crawley was running with him, and the Bucks missed a golden opportunity on that one.
They sure did, because the Saints blitz, Manti Te'o blitzes, Jacquizz Rodgers stones him, and Ryan Fitzpatrick has all day to throw this. A little stumble, their feet get tied up. He's got Chris Godwin running free.
First punt of the game for the Buccaneers, and Tommy Lee Lewis is back. Brian Anger gets it away. Taysom Hill came in on a rush. Lewis knocked down right away inside the 25. The special teams have been terrific for both teams today as Ryan Smith makes the play there. Halftime, they honored the owner of the Saints, Tom Benson, enshrined in the Ring of Honor. He passed away through the course of the offseason. Gail Benson on hand. There's Mickey Loomis, the general manager. And as Sean Payton told us, it's business as usual. She was a part of things when Tom was with us, and even when he is not, things are still going in the same direction. The Bensons running the Saints organization, and congratulations. Remember, a guy very important not only to this football team, but to this entire region of the country.
Without a doubt, this whole community. And, you know, it was interesting talking to Sean Payton about it. And, you know, what will it be like this year? What will you miss? And he said, you know, he really appreciated the culture that we created around here, that winning culture that was able to be established. And he would, you know, stop by, and he had some really fun stories. And, you know, always, you know, what do you need to be successful? What can I do as owner? What can I give you? What can I provide for you to make sure that you guys continue to be successful, continue to have this culture you've created?
The Saints they never won. Jim Mora got into the postseason. Tom Benson bought the team in the 80s, and the Benson Boogie became famous, and later a Super Bowl trophy. Mike Gillislee, the back, Breeze to throw. And right on target for a first down, Michael Thomas. While we were talking about the Ring of Honor here, there was a holding penalty on the punt that backed the Saints up even further. That's why you saw Drew Brees having to back up around his own goal line, but he makes up that yardage and gets a first down to the 25-yard line of the Saints.
And we know how explosive this offense can be, and it was a shootout in the first half. So the Saints defense makes a stop there on that last one. And now what happens with Tampa Bay? A lot of expectations with all the new faces here. You know, can they force a stop here with Drew Brees?
Kamara's in the slot. Here comes a flag. Somebody jumped. Yeah, it looked like maybe he was going in the area of Alvin Kamara.
False start. Offense from the 67. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Call is on Larry Warford. Michael Thomas, 9 catches over 100 yards and has a touchdown. And Alvin Kamara ran for a touchdown, also has 5 catches in the game. Second possession of the half for the Saints on first down and 15 after the penalty. Blitz, he reads it, dumps it off, and up the sideline goes Kamara to get some of that yardage back. Up near the 30, and it'll bring up second down.
That's one of the ways this offense stresses you. You know, they talk about the change in tempo and everything that they do from, you know, personnel and formational standpoint, but also just their ability to kind of get into these rhythms. You know, Tampa Bay came out, had a good first possession defensively, and you just never feel like you can relax against Drew Brees.
Seems like after Kamara, there's just no threat from Gillislee or Jonathan Williams. That's why Brees is having to put it up again and dropped. It would have been enough for a first down. That's a rare drop from Michael Thomas. It was delivered, and he knows it right where it had to be.
I think that's a great point by you, Chris. You know, the balance that they were able to strike last year offensively with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, you know, to take some of that pressure off of Drew Brees. And, you know, he even reminisced a little bit about, you know, back in the 2009 time frame where they had, you know, a stretch of about 6 or 7 years where he had all his wide receivers together and they could grow and really expand in this offense. And there's been a lot of change here. So that running game really took a lot of pressure off the pass game last year.
On 3rd and 8, Brees, Thomas knocked down at the 30, and it'll be 4th down. A hit from Justin Evans, and Evans is the one who returned the fumble for a touchdown, the one that was created by Hargraves on Gillislee, and the Saints bring out the punting unit.
Now that was really well done by Justin Evans. You know, kind of just hanging in that middle of the field, waiting for those underneath receivers, and just again another really sure tackle in space.
Morstead on 4th and 3. Adam Humphries gets out the 20 of the Bucks. Kicks it away. Humphries backing to the 10. Slips a tackle and goes up the sideline. Humphries up across the 25-yard line. And the Buccaneer offense will take over after Michael Thomas couldn't hold it. NFL kickoff 2018. It started with the defending Super Bowl champs beating Atlanta. The Eagles will head down to Tampa Bay week 2. Cleveland will be here in New Orleans. NFC South, these two teams going at it. The Panthers play later today against the Cowboys on Fox. Humphries upfield. Adam Humphries across the 45-yard line. A catch and carry, producing another Buccaneer first down.
It's just been too easy, especially on this. Remember the big one that got called back right there at the end of the first half when Adam Humphries went down inside the 10-yard line. He's on the inside of that trips formation. It's just going to bubble out right here. You get one block. You've got a guy to make a free guy to make the tackle, and they're just not sound defensively today.
Part of the depth at receiver, a 20-yard pickup.
Here we go.
But that's up like Evans as Jacquizz Rodgers is knocked down, although lose yardage. Tyler Davison.
And that's something that's going to have to continue, because at some point, if we keep moving along this way, you know, we talked about how impressed we were with Tampa Bay running the football. That's in the first half when your whole game plan is open. You're going to get to a point here in the second half with a lead where now you need to be able to run the football. How will Dirk Cutter's group function then?
Peyton Barber, 11 carries, averaging almost 5 a carry. Sean Wilson is in. He splits out as a receiver. Top of your screen. Empty backfield after a loss of 2.
Seems like there's some confusion in that defensive line.
Fitzpatrick out of the pocket, and he'll slide at midfield. Check in for Kurt Menefee in a game break. Kurt?
If the Steelers are looking to make Le'Veon Bell envious, this is one way. James Conner, his second touchdown of the day. He's got 90 yards rushing, 122 total yards, and they're still in the third quarter. 21-7.
Thank you very much. The only scoring in this half, Tampa Bay field goal. Saints defense looking to make a big play on 3rd and 6 from midfield. Blitz, one-on-one coverage, and he beat it. Mike Evans, Buccaneer touchdown. $50 yards. Fitzpatrick put it right on the money, and Evans took it in.
He talked about the fact that even though he respected Marshawn Lattimore, he was not going to shy away when the opportunity presents itself. The Saints come with a blitz. They bring two defenders from the left side, one-on-one coverage out to the right, beats him at the start, gets on top of him. For a big guy, he's got sneaky breakaway speed. He got on top of Marshawn Lattimore.
140 receiving yards, and that touchdown grab, his 6th catch of the game, and the extra point good.
How about Ryan Fitzpatrick on the deep ball today? The one to Deshaun Jackson to start the scoring today. And then that one right there, I mean, you know, he's on top of Marshawn Lattimore, but he doesn't have to wait. He can just run right through it. If he's got to hesitate, all of a sudden that corner has an opportunity to come in and make a play on the ball. But just great location with his deep balls this afternoon by Ryan Fitzpatrick.
And Evans, one of the top receivers in the game. Fitzpatrick, though, moving around well in the pocket to create time. He said in the offseason, last 7 or 8 years, he doesn't do any throwing at all. He saves his arm for training camp in the regular season.
And it's all about the timing of the throw. And yeah, he's not going to have, you know, the big cannon arm that a lot of guys have in this league and what scouts are looking for. But he understands that. He knows what his game is all about. So that ball comes out a little bit quicker. He's got the loft on it. He lets guys run underneath the catch. And He's thrown a couple of really, really nice deep balls this afternoon.
And Fitzpatrick studied math at Harvard. His Wonderlic score is believed to be the highest ever for a quarterback, as this kick will take Lewis deep in the end zone for a touchback. Thursday, the Ravens and Bengals on NFL Network. But beginning week 4, Thursday night football comes to Fox. Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews, Joe Buck, Christina Pink. Can't miss matchups one after the other. Thursday night football on Fox starts week 4 with the Vikings and the Rams. A couple of teams who could be playing in the NFC Championship game. Under 3 minutes to go in the third. And Kamara slipping some tackles before they gang tackle. A flag down as he is down at the 29.
Holding, offense for 71. 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Ryan Ramczyk, the player called for the infraction. Building got quiet. Back at the 15-yard line now. Mike Smith, who was under fire as the defensive coordinator after last year. This team was among those who missed the most tackles, over 130 last year, at least statistic. It's something they wanted to shore up. Today they've been pretty good against this guy. Tough catch in a crowd by Kamara. And that new defensive line, 3 new starters joining Gerald McCoy.
And I think that makes Gerald McCoy better, because now you've got to worry about Vinny Curry and Jason Pierre-Paul on the outside. You can't get all those double teams inside. You've also got Bo Allen there. And then really the big thing is the experience of being part of a Super Bowl champion team and what it takes to develop that chemistry within the locker room. And you can already listen to the guys talk about it, and some of those seeds are being planted.
Breeze. The screen to the tight end, Josh Hill, who slips a tackle. Josh Hill with a big conversion, good enough for a first down, and goes out of bounds up around the 37-yard line of the Saints.
That's a nice job, because Lavonte David had made a good play in the open field to get off of his blocker, and Josh Hill did an excellent job of extending that play. I thought Lavonte David was going to make that tackle.
Breeze nearing 300 passing yards after a pickup of 15, keeping the ball as the third quarter is winding down, and a 41-24 Bucs lead. Alvin Kamara remains in the game. Splits out as a receiver, bottom of your screen. Breeze to Michael Thomas, knocked down right away. Fans thought that was too close to the neck or head area by Lavonte David. Laura.
I'm going to go back to what you guys were talking about with Gerald McCoy. I talked to him about this new defensive line, and he cautioned everybody, saying it's been great so far, we're gelling, but you can't tell until we get a few games under our belt to really see how we're gelling, saying when a unit's playing really strongly together, it's a feel thing, not a communication thing, and we're still lights away from that.
Meanwhile, the Saints on the move with Michael Thomas, career high 11 catches, over 110 yards. Jonathan Williams, the back. Breeze flutters the ball, and Thomas makes a catch. Gets up and goes. Ball's out. Bucs have it. Tampa Bay takes away another one. It's Ryan Smith on the recovery. Second takeaway for Tampa Bay in this game.
Well, there's no substitution for hustle. You get a catch down the field like that. You're chasing the ball, hustling to the point, and watch the hit from behind. Look at the ball security is not all that great. It's loose, coming in from the side. Well done. Quan Alexander chasing it from behind, and that's when the turnovers happen. You think you're past, that danger zone. Just good hustle, good hit right on the ball.
Well, it was a drive that was important for the Saints to get some points. And I got to say that Thomas made a great effort after that ball fluttered out to get to it, then get up and run. But the hit by Alexander and the recovery by Tampa Bay for the Bucs 35-yard line. Peyton Barber is back in. He gets the pitch. Peyton Barber across the 36-yard line. Winding down in the third quarter, Jaquiz Rogers had run the previous couple of offensive series for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, you want to get Peyton Barber ready for the fourth quarter, so you get Jaquiz Rogers in there, let him catch his breath, let him get rested, because we've talked about this running game that Tampa has performed today. Now is the important part. 17-point lead, fourth quarter. How do you run the ball then?
Ryan Fitzpatrick has led the Buccaneer offense today. They have control of this game after 3 quarters in New Orleans. Daryl Johnston, Chris Myers, our crew in New Orleans. The Saints coming off a terrific season with Super Bowl aspirations. Scored early, but then fell behind, and after another turnover in a hole here, down 17 to the Bucs and Ryan Fitzpatrick. 15 minutes to go in regulation. Quick pass to Adam Humphries. You know, the Buccaneers for the first time added at what used to be One Buck Place. Now it's the Advent Healthcare Center, an indoor facility with rain, lightning, weather down there. And I know a number of the players, and Dirk Cutter telling us that it helped to practice indoor for a number of reasons. When they came here in the Superdome, it was a benefit.
Yeah, one thing, the noise that you can simulate in an indoor facility at your training spot. The other thing is the lights up above in the ceiling. And Mike Evans talked about, you know, some of these places you get inside and you go to track that ball on a deep throw and you kind of lose it in the lights. And he actually felt a little bit more comfortable, you know, practicing inside with that similar scenario.
Fitzpatrick's throw, and there is Evans falling for the first down. He tracked the ball well, and on the previous series, tracking it for a touchdown. His 7th catch of the game.
Just very efficient today by Ryan Fitzpatrick at the quarterback position. Very opportunistic, smart with the football, with his decisions to run. But again, we talked about this group of skill players that Tampa Bay can roll out at you, and they have all lived up to expectations this afternoon so far.
First down for Fitzpatrick. And incomplete. Tough hit on Adam Humphries. Incomplete. Mike Evans, who hadn't necessarily had great games previously indoors, but here he has lit it up.
He really has. He's been a matchup that New Orleans has really struggled to kind of defend. And now that was one of the things that Ryan Fitzpatrick said. You know, I have to take advantage of those opportunities. He's too good. I trust him. He'll go up and make the play. He'll defend the ball. He'll protect the possession. And he's done just that this afternoon.
Spread the ball around to all the receivers. Deshaun Jackson, a touchdown catch. Chris Godwin has a touchdown grab. Sean Wilson in the game. He gets the handoff. And the free agent from Duke, just barely 5'8", gets to the 47 of New Orleans. I don't think enough can be said about the way that Ryan Fitzpatrick has played on the road in this opener with this team. This is a guy who, back when he started, 7th round draft pick with the Rams, I asked him, I said, you think you'd be around 14 years? He said, no, I thought I'd last a year. In fact, I was taking hats and T-shirts, putting them aside so I'd save them as souvenirs.
Stealing Snicker bars on the away games. On the plains.
And here he is. Bucs moved on 3rd and 4.
Ball start. Offense. Number 69. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
DeMar Dotson, the most tenured Buck, had that offseason knee surgery, and they've slowly eased him back in through the course of training camp in the preseason.
If they can stay healthy, it's a pretty good group up front as well. And I like the move of Ali Marpet over to left guard. You've got a really dominant side now with Donovan Smith and Ali Marpet on that side when you have to have a go-to run situation.
Third and 9, and good protection. And a high throw. Here comes a flag. Here comes another flag. Deshaun Jackson, the target, and Ken Crowley was all over him. But they'll discuss, was it a catchable football?
Pass interference, defense number 20. Automatic first down, spot of the foul.
One of the sayings that Todd Monken has kind of stolen and adapted from Bobby Knight: bad football loses before good football wins. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have played well today, but the New Orleans Saints have made critical mistakes. They haven't been able to get off the field. They've had critical penalties like that one right there on Ken Crawley, an opportunity to get off the field, get your offense an opportunity. They've had the turnovers today.
Ready. Blue 80. What's up?
Fitzpatrick to throw. Deshaun Jackson, touchdown Tampa Bay. And a flag down. Back where Fitzpatrick threw the football.
Personal foul. Defense, roughing the passer. Number 93. The play is a touchdown. Penalty will be enforced on the ensuing kickoff.
Now that's another penalty called on David Onyemata. But the touchdown is good.
Again, another great deep ball. Littlestar turns Ken Crawley around, breaks to the middle of the field. There is no safety help in the middle of the field. And you got a helmet to helmet by Onyemata again.
The love of the game, the love for the game from Ryan Fitzpatrick. And another touchdown toss. His 4th touchdown pass of this game. And the Bucs scoring 48. Pulling away from the Saints here in New Orleans. Tampa Bay Buccaneers have equaled a team record 48 points. Todd Monken looks calm at his first NFL game as the offensive coordinator calling plays. And Dirk Cutter, who, as he said, over his 35 years in coaching, whether he's been the head coach or not, most of that has been as the play caller, relinquishing it for the first time. It worked well in the preseason. So they stayed with it, and it's produced positive results. They mark off the penalty, so it's kicked through the end zone with Daryl Johnston, Chris Myers, and Ryan Fitzpatrick. 4 touchdown passes. But we asked him, hey, during this 3-game stretch where Jameis Winston is suspended, if you get hot, the team's rolling, make no mistake about it. I'm just the caretaker. Yeah. This is Jameis Winston's team.
Absolutely. And we talked about at the beginning, the whole quarterback group had a great preseason statistically, and Jameis Winston had his best preseason statistically that he's ever had. So yeah, when he comes back, it's going to be his team. The job for Ryan Fitzpatrick was through this tough stretch. This first 3-game stretch is very challenging for Tampa Bay, was to put them in a good position. And he started off week 1 doing a heck of a job.
Saints will have to battle back as Austin Carr makes a catch, and that brings up a point. Who's the 3rd receiver after Michael Thomas and Ted Ginn? We thought it might be Traquan Smith, the rookie from UCF, but he hasn't been a factor at all in this game.
No, but it was something that Sean Payton talked about during camp. There was inconsistency. He wasn't happy with their production. He said the depth chart was written in chalk, and so he has not been pleased with the wide receiver position, through the course of training camp. And you can see why today you're putting a lot of responsibility on Michael Thomas as the go-to guy. And yet he's still been productive today. Had a costly fumble, but somebody else has got to step up on the outside.
Benjamin Watson stepping up there, but over the years, Drew Brees fortunate to have for so long together Marcus Colston and Willie Snead and Brandon Coleman. They're all gone. He has to readjust to Michael Thomas and whoever.
Right
on target to Watson inside the 40. A big gainer and a first down for the Saints. Watson, surprisingly, just because we think of guys from Harvard and quarterbacks on that Wonderlic test, he's on the list. The veteran from Georgia at age 37, he scored one of the highest, at least of the top 5, for those that are keeping record on a test that they give people coming into the NFL. Kamara can't hold it. Here comes a flag. Justin Evans knocking the ball away.
Let's see what happened at the end of that play. Justin Evans has had a nice afternoon today for Tampa Bay from that safety position.
Had a touchdown return on a fumble.
Contact to a defenseless player. 15-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
Let's see. Remember, head and neck area. I mean, the forearm is there, but it's more in the back, and I think it looked a lot more than it was.
Penalty will give the Saints, Daryl, a first down. And Evans is headed. Let's see if he goes over to the Bucs sideline. Jordan Whitehead, the rookie from Pittsburgh, drafted in the 4th round, will come in the safety spot of Evans. For the Saints, important to score as quickly as possible as Kamara, for them to try and rally in this game. Incomplete. Let's go to game break and check in. There's a flag down before we get a game break. Let's check on that. Thrown inside the 20.
Well, this is Saquon Barkley while you wait for that penalty flag. His first NFL touchdown, a beautiful 68-yard run. Giants need it. They didn't get the 2-point conversion, so it's a 5-point game to the Jaguars in the 4th. Chris, Daryl, what's the call?
Thanks, Kurt. We're there discussing.
Pass interference, defense, automatic first down, spot of the foul.
Back-to-back penalties against the Bucs. Moves the ball inside the 20-yard line of Tampa Bay and stops the clock for the Saints, who are down 24 points.
Hey, go. Ready?
Kamara. Bucs in a style of prevent as Evans comes back in, right?
Sure.
They're just going to make him work for everything and run the clock down.
Nothing over the top. Make them take time off the board if they're gonna get points. But what you said before, the weapons on the outside, it's Michael Thomas and it's Alvin Kamara right now. And New Orleans is going to have to find that other player in that mix of the skill position. We've seen the variety that Ryan Fitzpatrick has to throw to for Tampa Bay, and they need to have that back with New Orleans.
Breeze is in trouble here. Sideline throw is out of bounds. Trying to go to Ted Ginn. Yeah, the two players you mentioned, Kamara and Thomas, they both have over 100 yards in receiving.
And let's compliment Carlton Davis and the rest of this Bucs secondary. You lose Brett Grimes late Thursday at practice. You've got to shift everything, because sometimes Mike Smith he'll adjust his coverage and he'll do different things, but the key piece to that puzzle of doing something different is Brett Grimes, and he didn't have that, so he had to kind of play it straight up today. And concerned with some youth out there, they've hung in there. Drew Brees has thrown for over 350 yards, but they haven't allowed him to have those big long touchdown throws over the top.
On a 3rd and 4, Breeze, and it's knocked away, and it's 4th down. Hargraves created a fumble earlier. Wharton High School in Tampa, the former first rounder out of Florida, and slow to get up. We saw Evans come back in, and you think of the first regular season game, players have not played a full game through the preseason. Yeah, they've practiced hard. Haven't gone 4 full quarters at full speed.
I wonder if on the deflection here, as he stretches, did he jam a finger? But it looked like he was kind of under his shoulder. Does he jam a finger? Does it hurt the wrist as he makes that deflection? How about when he lands on the ground? That similar to what we saw happen to Deshaun Jackson with his shoulder after his touchdown catch.
Hargraves is headed to the locker room, not the sideline, indicating maybe they want to take an x-ray.
So you lost Brent Grimes before he came down here, who's your starting corner, and now you've got your guy that you kicked into the slot, your other starting corner on the outside that you bring into the slot on nickel situations, just leaves the field. So getting a little thin in that secondary for the Buccaneers right now.
Other than Ryan Smith, who's in his 3rd year at corner, you've got the 2 rookies. in Stewart and Davis. Evans could play corner if you had to move him over from safety. 4th down for Drew Brees. Trying to get the Saints into the end zone. And the catch made. 3rd one by Benjamin Watson on this drive to keep it alive for the Saints. That was interesting. Last year, all 4 division winners in the NFC were teams that didn't win the division the previous year. The Saints being one of those. Of course, the Eagles being another, and went on to win the Super Bowl. The Bucs hoping that the trend continues. It's just the start of things. Brees thought he was going to hand off, and a little mix-up there. Let's check in with Laura.
Quick update on Hargreaves. We found out already it was the shoulder like you were talking about. He is in getting x-rays. He is doubtful for his return.
Thank you very much. And you would figure with the score, given what it is at this point, anybody who might be ailing, let him rest up if you're the Bucs. On 2nd and goal.
Ready. Ready.
Brees, pass to the goal line. Michael Thomas is there for the catch, but no touchdown. Going to spot it, see where the ball came down. They go to the line. They don't even want a review. Let's snap it and get in the end zone is what Brees is saying. And it's Kamara for a touchdown, Saints. Where's that been all game? Is what, or at least since the early first half. They're going to go for 2. You saw the signal from Brees.
You have to compliment the Bucs defense. They've come out here. They've played well in the second half and been able to get some stops here. And a lot of it's that defensive line playing better here in the second half. But yeah, just hustle up to the line. I like the choice right there. You know, don't wait and try to get a review and everything. Just let's go. Let's get it up. Let's hand the ball off. And nice little walk-in touchdown for Alvin Kamara.
Bucs had a string of 17 points scored that went unanswered until then. And if they get this 2-point conversion, then you're down 16. So 2 scores, 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions.
Yellow 80. Yellow 80. Hey, kill. Kill. Ready. You ready? What's that?
Kamara. And he gets 2. And it's now 48-32. The Saints making the most of their opportunity. Brees and Kamara get it done. Just under 9 minutes to go in the 4th. The offensive machine that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. Was it you who said play Ryan Fitzpatrick in your fantasy league? Somebody mentioned
I wish
that.
I had that foresight.
And he's gotten the ball to Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson. Barber got him going early, running on the ground. And the defense with a couple of takeaways. Too early for an onside kick. But they're going to try and drop one in against Adam Humphries. And he slides at the 25-yard line. Down 16 points. The Buccaneer offense never let up behind Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, and he's just thrown a great deep ball today. That was the first one to Deshaun Jackson. Then he gets Mike Evans earlier in the second half. And he's got one more to Deshaun Jackson. So just really nice throws with the deep ball today, but allowed the guys around him to help him this afternoon make plays and have just a great offensive afternoon.
Yeah, he's run 8 times, Darryl, and one of those, a touchdown, looked like the design run. We don't know how many others, but for an aging veteran quarterback, he hasn't hesitated to take the ball upfield and get positive yardage.
Hey, bring it. Ready. Blue 80.
Peyton Barber with the carry. And plows forward for 2 or 3. Looked like he was going to get nothing out of that.
And this is the time, you know, they've run the ball well today, but now's the time you've got to be able to run it. Now the defense is expecting you to run it to kill the clock, and I think it's going to be interesting to see Todd Monken's philosophy in this part of the game. You know, do you keep your foot on the pedal and continue to be aggressive? He started the game aggressive. He's been aggressive all the way through the day with his play calling. Do you continue to do that here? You see a lot of offensive coordinators kind of get real conservative in this situation, don't want to make a mistake, worried about taking time off the clock, as opposed to continuing to go down the field with first downs.
At the 8-minute mark, they run again. It's one of the few times I think we've seen them run back-to-back plays. It'll bring up third down. Need to get to the 35 for a first down in under 8 minutes to play.
He has rolled out a number of different things against New Orleans. He's really kept Dennis Allen's group off balance. We've seen the deep ball down the sideline, middle of the field. Some nice quick screens to the outside. Just a lot of different things in the passing game.
The Bucs 6 out of 9 on third down, facing a 3rd and 3. For Deshaun Jackson, who's open. He's got it for a first down.
There's your answer.
And there at Fitzpatrick now has a career high in yardage. He's over 400 passing yards in this game as Deshaun Jackson is laid out once again. But he made the catch on 3rd and 3. And we'll continue here in New Orleans in just 30 seconds. Tending to Deshaun Jackson, who in the first half had a touchdown catch and a shoulder injury. This a 35-yard catch on third down.
Yeah, and it's man-to-man coverage, but it's 3rd and 3. You want to keep possession. This shows you the aggressive nature of not only Todd Monken as the play caller, the confidence they have in Ryan Fitzpatrick to put him in that situation, and then as well as Ryan has played this afternoon, to take a shot at that one-on-one coverage and go to Deshaun Jackson in that situation. A lot of things underneath that they were working with, some man combinations that were probably a little bit safer for the potential conversion, but like he told us in the meeting room, if I see opportunities for one-on-one outside, I trust my guys to go make that play.
Well, they tend to Deshaun Jackson. Let's get a game break check-in again with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Chris. Reminder what's coming up next. America's Game of the Week. Dak Prescott, a new-look Cowboys team. No Dez, no Jason Witten, but he does have Ezekiel Elliott. And then you got Cam Newton with the new offensive coordinator, Norv Turner, hoping to make the most of that new relationship. It's all coming up next. Chris?
All right, thank you. Look forward to Troy Aikman, Joe Buck, Aaron Andrews on that coming up on Fox. And the NFC South, with the Falcons having lost, if the Bucs are able to hold on here, they'll go to the top of the division pending what the Panthers do. And this division, it's been tough to repeat. Of course, the Bucs should want to get out of the bottom of the division, but the Panthers, only team to repeat as division champs. Sean Payton's not thinking about that. Probably not thinking about starting 0-2 the last 4 years, or those last 4 home openers that slipped away. Still time here if his defense could put a stop on, but they just haven't been able to. And for Ryan Fitzpatrick, a career high over 415 yards, the 6th 400-yard game in Bucs history. And the Bucs have seen different quarterbacks do it, from Josh Freeman to Jameis Winston, Brian Gracie, Doug Williams, Vinny Testaverde, and now that man. Dirk Cutter spoke of Deshaun Jackson in training camp and said that he was one of the guys who spoke well to the team a few times to keep them together about the tough, hard work ethic to prepare for the season. Cutter said he had the street cred with the players, so he was going to let him get up and talk in front of the group, and he did well. And he's had a good game today. He's toughed it out.
No, it's exactly right. I mean, there's certain guys who you listen when they speak. You know, it's the old E.F. Hutton thing, right? You know, if Deshaun Jackson's talking, I'm listening. If he's going to, start to tell me about what it takes to be successful in this league, and so they've brought that type of player into Tampa Bay, and I tell you what, you can see a difference with this group.
Hey, Bear, Mike 51. Ready, Blue 80.
Peyton Barber from the 33 of New Orleans as the clock continues to run. Under 6.5 to play. And the injury tent. The red hat, if they go into, the signal's a little more serious at first belief. So Dean Kleinschmidt, who is back there, previously a long time trainer with the New Orleans Saints, was also with the Detroit Lions. But the play calling of Todd Monken and the execution of Ryan Fitzpatrick in this offense has been off the charts.
Hey, let's go. Gold steal, gold steal. 51's the mic. Sunday, Sunday. Here we go.
Peyton Barber powering his way down to the 26-yard line, and the clock continuing to run. Laura.
I'm going to go back to Ryan Fitzpatrick, what you guys were talking about with this game, because people would think as long as he's been doing it, as many teams, he'd be a little bit looser. He told me it's so not the case. Said this is so stressful still. The older you get, the more you think about everyone else you're playing for, your teammates, the coaches. You think about their families and what you're playing for, and it can overwhelm you. So what he said, what he tries to do is make it as small as possible. It went from a season to a game to a quarter to a play. And he said before this game, all that being said, more than ever, I'm so aware of what a cool position I'm in. That was before throwing over 400 yards.
They're going to have to use a timeout, and they do, thanks, Laura, on 3rd and 4. The play clock was ready to expire. Well, he told you that after that New York Jets situation, had a great year and then a down year, that's when he thought about retirement until getting a chance in Tampa and a revitalization game when the Bucs played Arizona. First time the Buccaneers have scored over 40 under head coach Dirk Cutter. They equal a team record, 48 points, and big plays, something that was lacking with this offense, as Todd Monken is calling plays for the first time in his NFL career. A buddy of Dirk Cutter, they not only coached together with the Bucs, but they were together in Jacksonville for 4 years.
Ready. Blue 80. What's up?
Just over 5 minutes to play. Peyton Barber staying in bounds as the clock runs. It'll bring up 4th down and a timeout by the Saints. They will have one remaining.
You kind of touched on that a little bit before we went to break there about Ryan Fitzpatrick and his time with the Jets, and you know, at the end of a guy's career, it's a couple of different things that will kind of get you out. You know, you wake up on a Wednesday morning, you just don't feel like going to work because it's become such a grind, and I think that's what happened to Ryan. He said it just wasn't fun. He goes, in the year before that, it was great. You know, we had a great time, great season, we were productive, successful, and then all of a sudden in 1 year, you can lose that love, that passion for the game, and that's where he was in 2016. And actually one of his young, a couple of his young sons at the time said, yeah, we want you to keep playing. And that was a huge part. And then he decides to come to Tampa Bay, and then he goes out to Arizona. You know, last season he gets an opportunity to go into a game and brings the team back, and all of a sudden you reignite that passion and you're back into it, and football is fun again. And I know a lot of guys that have gotten to that point and not had the opportunity to relight that passion for the game. So I'm real happy for him. When he shared that story with us, I was so excited that he was able to find the love of the game again.
And his wife Liza expecting their 7th child. Catanzaro from 44 yards away, and he missed it. It's not good. And the reason that's important is because it's still a 2-score game. Touchdowns, extra points for the Saints if they intend to rally.
Did it get a little deflection there?
It looked like somebody might have. Looked like somebody misdirected that kick attempt. Let's check in with Laura.
This whole game, Deshaun Jackson has been playing, toughing it out, playing with that injured shoulder. Every time he's been not playing and sitting down, they've been massaging him. He's been fidgeting with it the entire game, trying to tough it out. This he is not going to be able to. He is concussed. He is out with a concussion. Fought with head athletic trainer Bobby Slater to get evaluated. Bobby got him in there and got him out for the game.
Thank you. And Drew Brees on 1st down. Middle of the field is open for Michael Thomas at a 1st down at the 47.
And can you ever sleep on this guy with a lead? Even though it's 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions.
Sideline open. Catch made by Ginn. Feet in and knocked out of bounds. 4:22 to go. Fresh set of downs for the Saints. Saints take time to huddle. Open again is Thomas. He's got it at the 18 of Tampa Bay. Drew Brees has been credited with 41 career game-winning drives. That's among the top 5 all time. 4 of those have come against Tampa Bay. He's a long way from that, but he's trying to get the Saints closer after a gain of 21. Underneath, it's Thomas again. 16th catch by Michael Thomas, and that's a new Saints record. Nearing the 200-yard receiving mark for Michael Thomas.
Mike 5'8", Mike 5'8", from Omaha.
Second and a yard. Flag flies. In the end zone for a touchdown is Alvin Kamara. Check the flag.
Offside. Defense. Number 90. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
Here come the Saints. Kamara's touchdown is good at the 3.5-minute mark.
A little flinch by Jason Pierre-Paul at the right defensive end position. And as soon as that field goal was missed and it sat at 16, I think everything just kind of shifted from an emotional standpoint, and you've got a 19-point lead at that point, and everybody's comfortable, and they go straight down the field, working the sideline, working the middle of the field.
And this is big because they wanted to go for 2, and it looks like the Saints had to use a timeout, and Darryl, that's their last timeout. So other than the 2-minute warning, they're not going to be able to stop the clock.
And everybody knows that. You know, you're coming down the field. It's a 2-possession, 2-point conversion game twice. So, you know, you've got, when you score, everybody knows that. You've talked about that during Tampa Bay's offensive possession that previous series. So as soon as you take the field, you know this is all about going down, scoring, and going for 2.
And the onside kick with the new rules on kickoffs in terms of no run-up and positioning of players is a lot more difficult. We talked to Sean Payton about that at Friday's practice. A lot more difficult to pull off. The Saints were good on their 2-point conversions last year. They've already converted once today. They need 2 to get within 8. The blitz on Brees, throws, and it's a slam dunk. Ted Ginn hangs on. Make that Michael Ginn with the catch. And it's now an 8-point difference.
What a throw by Drew Brees from the pocket. I mean, flat-footed. It looks like everything's collapsing around him and just zips it out. You know, people that talk about the arm strength of Drew Brees at this stage of his career, watch this. I mean, flat-footed, just zip right to the outside to Ted Ginn.
After struggling much of this half offensively, the Saints are marching in. Couple of touchdowns, couple of 2-point conversions.
And I think you bring up a great point with that timeout when they got a mix-up right there. I think if you've got the 2-minute warning and your last timeout, maybe you kick it deep here. Maybe you got to trust the defense has been struggling all day long, but you can stop. You're going to have 2 clock stops. With only the 2-minute warning, are they, maybe they're forced into a position now that they feel like they have to try the onside kick.
Well, you played the game. You know that momentum, it's not just talked about. You can feel it in the stands, on the field. They're kicking it deep, and Lutz can do that. Humphries watches it sail over his head, so it comes out to the 25-yard line. No timeouts for the Saints at the 3.5-minute mark.
You had a tough day all afternoon, but your offense has put you in a position where if you can get them a stop, you've got a chance to tie this game up. As much as you've struggled during the course of the afternoon today playing defense against Tampa Bay's offense.
And the Dome is alive. Peyton Barber loses
Holding. Offense, number 69. Penalties declined. Second down.
Lamar Dotson, the tackle. You got the blitzing linebacker coming inside. He's late getting there and just tackles him.
Barber again on 2nd and 14. Clock running. He gets to the 24. And Todd Monken, for as good a game as he's called for Dirk Cutter, maybe went too conservative too soon based on who you're playing.
I don't know. That last drive, they go down the field. They got a chance with the field goal. It all comes down to not converting a special teams opportunity on that field goal to make it a 3-possession game. When you miss that field goal, you brought this crowd back in, and then Drew Brees has just completely reignited him with that touchdown drive to make it a 1-possession, 2-point conversion game.
On 3rd and 11, Fitzpatrick is on the move. Fitzpatrick is keeping the football, and he's got a first down. And he stays in bounds as the clock continues to run. A heroic performance from Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Watch the eyes when he pops up after this run. And the defense knows this. Look at the way he's holding the ball. He's not going to throw it. And they knew coming in. Jameis Winston, when he scrambles, he's scrambling to throw. When Ryan Fitzpatrick scrambles with the ball, he's scrambling to convert. He's trying to get a first down.
Fitzpatrick is the 2nd leading rusher in this game. He has more rushing yards than Alvin Kamara. Not over yet. Bucs thought they had it in the bag. A big conversion by Fitzpatrick. 2 minutes to go, and the Bucs lead by 8. Dirk Cutter's team protecting an 8-point lead with a first down at the Bucs 36. And on 3rd and 11, against Sean Payton's defense, the veteran Ryan Fitzpatrick ran for the first down, kept the clock going, and with no timeouts for New Orleans, 3 straight snaps should wrap this game up for Tampa Bay.
And here's that play. You do everything right defensively. You get him to a 3rd and 11 situation, but your underneath coverage, is downfield too far, protecting that. Nobody's got the sticks. Nobody underneath had the sticks. So again, Ryan Fitzpatrick, when he pulls the ball down, he's doing it for a reason. He's not extending the play to get it downfield. He's trying to convert.
His 10th run of the game. He's thrown for 4 touchdowns and over 400 yards. And the timeout the Saints had to use after they got the last touchdown before the 2-point conversion was their last, or they'd still have a fighting chance. Now they can't stop the clock, and the Bucs know it.
Yeah, they would have had to have punted the ball. You wouldn't have had a whole lot of time left on the clock once you got it, but at least you would get the ball back. But burning that timeout allows Tampa Bay to just kill this 2 minutes.
Dirk Cutter on his way in his 3rd season, beginning his 3rd season as the Bucs head coach, winning his 3rd straight season opener. And for Sean Payton and the Saints, this will be the 5th straight year they have started the season with a loss. State Farm game break coming up here on Fox. Stay tuned for the Panthers and the Cowboys. Most of you will see that matchup. With the Falcons' loss on Thursday night, the Buccaneers, behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, go to the top of the division in the NFC South. And Dirk Cutter handing off the play calling to Todd Monken, and Ryan Fitzpatrick playing for the suspended Jameis Winston, able to outscore Drew Brees.
But again, a lot of important lessons learned today in the opener. Number one, the game is never over. I mean, Tampa Bay felt like they had this game in hand the entire 4th quarter. You missed that field goal, and everything just shifted when you got a guy like Drew Brees on the other side.
Saints will be at home next week against the Browns. The Bucs will be hosting the Eagles. For Laura Oakman, Daryl Johnston, and our entire NFL on Fox crew, I'm Chris Myers. We appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for more football and more highlights. Now, Kurt Menefee.